We've talked about the University of Texas at length on this channel, and deservedly so. A program with that much hype, both at the coaching level, with a lot of talent on roster, and making such waves in recruiting right now, deservedly so. They get a lion's share of attention because they are doing some incredibly interesting things right now. But for all of the intrigue, that doesn't mean that things are going to come easy next year. Specifically, the early part of that season is going to be difficult. Week 1, a very winnable game against Louisiana, a game that they will win, but Louisiana is not an easy matchup, and thinking that that's going to be a cakewalk is a mistake because that is a capable opponent, and they have nothing to lose going against Texas, whereas Texas does have something to lose going against Louisiana. But that's not the game I'm super interested in. In fact, the game I'm super interested in is Arkansas, and I want to talk today about how that game is actually going to be a very sneaky good game and a big game for both programs, and we've got to get into it. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from y'all. So hop down to the comments and give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe that the Texas Longhorns are in prime position to be able to take down Arkansas next year? And let me know why. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification because I do constant college football content, player reviews, film analysis, talk style videos like this, and I'm on my push to 5,000 subscribers, and I'd love to have you along for the journey. And if you did enjoy this video, be sure to like and comment down below because that really does go a long ways in helping content creators like myself get picked up by the YouTube algorithm. But with all of that being said, let's talk Arkansas and let's talk Texas, and specifically, let's start with Arkansas. And the reason I've been so intrigued about Arkansas is because Roman Harper was on SEC Network talking about some of the things that concerned him for Alabama, and we've talked about it here on this channel. He said that the offensive line and wide receivers are going to be units he's looking for. While they're talented, they are new, and I agree. That is going to be an area of intrigue for the Alabama Crimson Tide. But then he pointed out two teams in the SEC West that he thinks are super interesting matchups, Ole Miss and Arkansas. And I agree on both counts. And while I don't think that Arkansas is there quite yet to be able to take on Alabama, when you look at all the depth Alabama returns on defense, they are talented. But then I think about it in terms of the Texas Longhorns matchup and how good that's going to be. Texas is in the process of rebuilding, and Arkansas is in the process of building themselves back up to a proud program. And look, Pittman is doing incredible work at Arkansas right now, and not even Pittman. When you look at the defense, Barry Odom has them boys right. Jalen Catalon is easily one of the best defensive backs in the nation. He's probably the second or third best defensive back in the SEC, depending on how you rank the incredible defensive backs in the SEC. And when you look at the SEC right now, it's loaded with dudes, right? If I'm just talking between LSU, Alabama, and Arkansas, you have Eli Ricks, Derek Stingley, Malachi Moore, and then Catalon. Right there, that is a shutdown group. And Catalon at that safety position is going to be a head hunter this year. An incredible year last year, and he's just going to expand on that and be even better this year. So this is an Arkansas team that is hungry to prove that they are back, that has talent, and is going to be looking at Texas as a mark because Texas is one of the biggest brands, if not the biggest brand, in all of college football. Even when Texas is bad, Texas has the benefit of being able to recruit itself. And that's another reason that Texas has to watch out for this game. Because much like Louisiana, Arkansas really has nothing to lose in this game. Beating Texas is going to benefit Arkansas much more than Texas beating Arkansas will benefit Texas. And here's what I mean when I say that. Even last year, when Tom Herman was autopiloting recruiting for whatever reason, and then Sark didn't get to come in at an adequate time to be able to put together his class, Texas still finished with a top 20 class. Arkansas, on the other hand, they had to work all of last year through the recruiting process, and they were a subpar team. They had a 3-7 season, but compared to what they've been, that's phenomenal. In fact, if you go back and watch my video before the SEC season started, I actually had them slated to win 1, maybe 2 games, and I said in a video, I believe that if they win 2 games, that is a pat yourself on the back season, because I thought they'd be very bad. And even though they only won 3, they were very competitive in the majority of their games, which really has to give you reason for hope if you are an Arkansas fan. And we haven't even really gotten to talk about the offense yet, because I really do believe that the defense is that special under Barry Odom's tutelage, and specifically when we're talking about the Texas matchup, we're going to be having the genius offensive scheme of Sark versus Barry Odom, and Sark isn't going to have the weapons he had at Alabama. He's going to have his scheme, which is still buttery crisp. Let's not get anything twisted about it. Sark's scheme is unbelievable, and it will be able to be shown at an incredible capacity. He has Bijan Robinson. He's got a lot of weapons at Texas that he'll be able to do something with. But Arkansas's offense is real too. Whether it's Hornsby or whether it's KJ Jefferson at quarterback, Arkansas fans are really excited about the prospect of either of those guys. And then you have weapons on the outside that are dangerous. And ultimately, I got into talking about why this is such a big deal for both programs. For Texas, for those of us that understand what Arkansas is doing defensively right now, this is a big win, especially in week 2. It's a big confidence win for your team. Getting to go out there, Sark would, week 2, against a team that has the benefit of continuation at the coaching staff and at a lot of talent positions going in from last year to this year, to Sark, who has a talented team at Texas, but has no continuation at coaching because he just got there, and a lot of different guys just got there. It's going to be a big win for Texas for confidence moving down the stretch for teams like Oklahoma, for teams like TCU, for teams like Oklahoma State. That's what this means for Texas. What it means for Texas also recruiting-wise is that you beat Arkansas, and I don't know how much that will benefit Texas. It will benefit them in the sense that they beat a team that is very well coached, that is very highly regarded amongst football circles. And when I say highly regarded, y'all have to understand I'm tempering my expectations. When I say highly regarded, I mean highly regarded as it relates to the expectation of where Arkansas was supposed to be, and Pittman has busted through that floor and has them on a rise much quicker than a lot of us expected, and it is a real rise. There's a very talented team there in Arkansas. But what this means for Arkansas and why Texas has to be careful. We talked about how Texas can recruit on its own brand and become a top 15 class, even autopiloting it. That's the power of using your brand to recruit. Teams such as Ohio State, Texas, Oklahoma, for the most part Florida, Alabama, and Clemson, they can autopilot recruiting and get a top 20, top 15 class. It's where you try, where you see your Nick Sabans and all of them getting top 5, top 3 classes. But Arkansas doesn't have the benefit of being able to autopilot recruiting. In fact, this past year, they recruited throughout the pandemic and were able to nab a top 25 class, and I don't know how I feel about that, because that's not going to get it done in the SEC, but at the same token, when you are a new coaching staff that adopted an abysmal program that hadn't won an SEC game in quite some time, it's going to be very hard to recruit no matter how much faith they have in you. But when you go 3-7 and do have some faith and are able to nab a top 25 team, I think that means that maybe there's some faith around Arkansas in the recruiting world, albeit I don't know how much. But that's why this game is so important to Arkansas, because if they beat Texas, it does show recruits, hey, we actually have something cooking here. We just beat a huge national brand that might be one of the most exciting programs in all of college football right now. So make no mistake about it. Even though I do believe Texas is the favorite with Coach Sark's incredible offensive schemes with Bijan Robinson, that's going to be awesome to watch. Coach K's incredible defensive schemes, which if you want to learn more about that, go to Texas Homer's YouTube channel, because he just dropped an incredible video really breaking down Coach K's scheme and the importance of 2 linebacker positions in particular, but I'm not going to get too much into it because you need to go to his channel to see more about that, and I'll link that down at the bottom. This is going to be a good game, and this is going to be a great test for both programs. But the reason I think Texas needs to really watch out is because not only is Arkansas hungry, not only are they talented, not only do they have incredibly talented players, they have a lot to win from this game if they win. It'll help their recruiting, it'll help everything. And make no mistake about it, Texas has a lot to win in this game too, but maybe not to the same degree as Arkansas, because Arkansas doesn't have the brand that Texas has to be able to recruit on autopilot on a bad year, which Texas had a bad year recruiting last year and still had a top 20 class. Arkansas doesn't have that benefit, and this win right here is paramount for Arkansas to be able to do that. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, you do have to like Texas's chances, even if you take into account a possible good signal caller at Arkansas. Bijan Robinson is incredibly talented, one of the most talented running backs in all the nation, and Sark has always had a 1,000-yard rusher. And you do have to like the quarterback prospect at Texas as much as you like the quarterback prospect at Arkansas. There's a lot of talent that will be taking the field week 2, and it is a matchup I cannot wait for. But I can't wait to hear what y'all are thinking, so hop down to the comments and let me know what you think will happen in that week 2 matchup. That's it. See ya.